"You're just a driver," she laughed. The single dad handed her the company keys. They were still laughing when he opened the car door. Claudia Voss stepped out of the Harrington Hotel's marble lobby with her phone pressed to her ear and the expression of someone who'd grown accustomed to having things arranged incorrectly. She saw the sedan, black, polished, silent, and then she saw the man standing beside it. Dark jacket, simple tie, hands folded at his waist. "You're just a driver?" She said into the phone, not quite to Nathan, and laughed. The kind of laugh that means someone's made a mistake and I'm being gracious about it. Derek said he'd arranged proper transport. I assumed. She waved her free hand. "It doesn't matter. We're already late." The Harrington's covered portico on a Thursday evening was full of people with places to be. A gallery opening on the north side, a charity preview across town, a stakeholder reception at a company called Cole Ventures. Valets moved around Nathan with practiced indifference. Claudia's husband Derek emerged behind her in a charcoal suit that announced its own value, gave the car a brief evaluating glance, and said nothing useful. Nathan held the door. What Claudia Voss did not know, what she had no way of knowing as she climbed into the back seat and immediately adjusted the temperature without asking, was that Nathan Cole owned the car. He owned the car service. He owned the building they were headed to. He owned, by majority stake acquired in the last fiscal quarter, the advisory board position Derek had spent 6 months cultivating. By the time they arrived at Cole Ventures headquarters, Claudia Voss would be holding the building's access card in her hand. Nathan had put it there. 4 hours earlier, he had woken to the sound of a spoon hitting the kitchen floor. Maya was attempting oatmeal. The spoon was on the floor, the oatmeal was on the counter, and Maya was on her step stool with the focused expression of a 7-year-old adapting to unexpected circumstances in real time. She was good at adapting. She'd had practice. "I'm making breakfast," she said, without turning around. "I can see that." It had an accident. The oatmeal. The spoon. She retrieved it, considered it, rinsed it with the thoroughness of someone who had absorbed Nathan's kitchen standards over 1,000 small mornings. "It's fine. I rinsed it." They ate together at the kitchen table, Maya narrating the ongoing installment of a story about her best friend's hamster that had been running, in daily chapters, for 9 consecutive days. Nathan held the full context in his head. The hamster's name, its recent health scare, its complicated relationship with the hamster next door. Because the installments referenced each other and continuity mattered. Emma had been better at this than him. Initially, she'd had the gift of complete attention. The ability to be fully inside a conversation about a second grader's hamster, while also being fully herself, fully present, fully there. He'd been learning that from her, slowly, over 7 years of marriage. And then, she was gone, and the learning became something he owed her. She was diagnosed in the spring, 2 years and 5 months ago. Pancreatic cancer, the fast kind, which is the only kind it comes in. She died in October. Maya had turned 6 3 weeks before the funeral. Nathan had been in the middle of the Novadrive acquisition when the diagnosis came. A logistics technology company he'd built from a converted warehouse and a second-hand delivery van. Started in the years when he drove his own routes. Thought through software solutions to the problems he was experiencing firsthand. Typed code on a folding table between pickups. He'd sold it 14 months after the diagnosis. Because Emma needed him present, and the company needed leadership, he couldn't give it anymore. The sale cleared $280 million. He was not in a good place to feel anything about that. Cole Ventures came afterward, a holding structure for the investments he made in the year that followed, when he needed something to do with his hands that wasn't just grief. He bought businesses, he understood. The car service was the first acquisition. 43 vehicles, 67 employees. A dispatcher named Gerald, who'd been running it for 12 years, and who Nathan had not replaced because Gerald ran it well. Nathan just owned it. And once a month, sometimes more, when he needed to think, he took one of the cars out himself. Maya called these his important car days. She asked no further questions, which he appreciated. This morning, before leaving for the hotel pickup, he found a note tucked into the glove compartment. Maya's handwriting, purple crayon. "Daddy, this is a lucky car now. Love, Maya. P.S. The hamster is fine." He held it for a moment, put it in his jacket pocket. Then he drove to the Harrington, and Claudia Voss came through the door. The drive to Cole Ventures headquarters was, under normal conditions, 22 minutes. Claudia adjusted the temperature at the 4-minute mark, turned off the radio at 7 minutes without asking, because she'd begun a phone call. Nathan drove, said nothing. The call was to someone named Patricia and concerned a consulting pitch Claudia's firm had submitted to a tech holding group, a pitch that was apparently progressing well. "They haven't said no yet," Claudia told Patricia, with the certainty of someone who treated haven't said no as have said yes. "Derek's on the board. He's making introductions. We just need the right room." Nathan kept his eyes on the road. He was familiar with the pitch. It had been sitting in Julia's inbox, Julia Park, his chief of staff, for 6 weeks. They hadn't moved forward with it, and not because they hadn't reviewed it carefully. At a red light on Meridian, Derek leaned forward. "What's the fastest route?" "This one," Nathan said. "The last driver we used took the long way. I know the short way." Derek sat back. The light changed. Claudia finished her call and turned to the window, then back. "What's your name?" "Nathan." "Nathan," Said, with the flat inflection of someone filing a name in the category of things that don't require further attention. "Have you been driving long?" "A while." "Do you drive the whole fleet? Or just Claudia?" Derek's voice carried the particular quiet of someone who'd learned that certain conversational threads didn't lead anywhere worth going. She shrugged. Went back to her phone. At minute 14, Nathan's phone, dash-mounted, visible to the back seat, lit up with a notification. He caught it in peripheral vision. He also caught Claudia catching it. Cole Ventures, board pre-meeting confirmed. Shareholder notes ready. "Jay, Park, is that a company app?" Claudia asked. "Something like that," Nathan said. She looked at it for another beat. Looked at the back of his head, made a decision about what category this belonged in. Driver, work app, not interesting, and went back to her phone. What Claudia Voss didn't know, scrolling through her emails while Nathan drove, was that the shareholder notes that had just been confirmed were Nathan's. 54% majority stake, Cole Ventures, acquired 11 months ago. And that Derek's advisory board seat was one of 4 positions currently under review for the Q4 board restructuring. And that the reason for Derek's review had nothing to do with performance. It had to do with the consulting pitch his wife had been quietly advancing while he held a governance role. Claudia was riding toward the consequences of a decision already made. She was currently doing it at 60 kilometers per hour. At minute 18, she dropped her phone. It slid under the front passenger seat. She made a sound of frustration. Nathan pulled over briefly, retrieved it without being asked, and passed it back. "Finally," she said. Took it. Did not say thank you. Derek said nothing. Nathan pulled back into traffic. Let the silence do what it wanted. At minute 22, they came around the curve on Lakeshore, and the Cole Ventures building came into view. Glass and steel, 14 floors, Cole Ventures in silver letters above the main entrance, catching the evening light. Nathan watched Claudia's eyes find the letters, read them. He pulled into the drop-off circle and stopped. Claudia was already talking before the car fully stopped. Someone needs to confirm the suite access because Derek's keycard didn't come through, and I am not standing at a reception desk explaining. Nathan stepped out. Came around. Opened her door. Julia Park was walking through the building's main entrance. Julia, 34, who had worked for Nathan Cole for 3 years, and who wore the particular expression of someone who had managed many situations and was currently managing another one, came down the front steps with a tablet in one hand and a building access card in the other. She looked at Nathan. Boards upstairs. Catering's confirmed. 14th floor suite is ready. She held out the access card. Reception passes if you want to hand them off personally. Nathan took the card. Turned to Claudia Voss, who was standing at the open car door with an expression that had developed a specific kind of crack in it. The expression of someone holding 2 pieces of information that should not fit together and finding that they do. He held out the access card, set it in her hand. "The company keys," he said. 14th floor. Elevators left of the lobby desk. A pause. "It was a pleasure driving you, Miss Voss." Claudia looked at the card. Looked at the building. Looked at Julia. Looked at Nathan. "You're Nathan Cole. Evenly, I own the building." He handed his car keys to the valet, who greeted him by name, and walked through the front door. Claudia Voss stood at the curb with the company access card in her hand for approximately 4 seconds. Then, she followed him inside. The reception was already half full when she reached the 14th floor. Advisory board members, portfolio company partners, and senior investors circulated with wine and the ease of people for whom rooms like this were professional habitat. A banner behind the main table read, "Cole Ventures Annual Stakeholder Reception." Beside it, a projector displayed the evening's agenda. 7 p.m. Welcome remarks, Nathan Cole. Chairman and founder. The photo beside his name was from 3 years ago. Nathan in a suit at the head of a boardroom table. The posture of someone who hadn't yet moved to the quieter register of his life. Shoulders back. Eyes forward. The same face as the driver. An unmistakably different presence. Derek saw it first. He was mid-conversation with someone from the audit committee when his eyes found the screen. He read it. Looked again. His glass stopped halfway to his lips. He looked for Claudia. Found her just stepping off the elevator. She crossed the room toward him. He watched her look at the screen. Watched her face complete the connection his had made 30 seconds earlier. They looked at each other, said nothing. Nathan entered from the side corridor, Julia 2 steps behind. He'd changed jackets, the driving one exchanged for a darker one kept in his office, and his posture had made its shift, the quiet transition between one register of his life and another. Not more important, just different. The room oriented toward him in the way rooms do when the person who built them walks in. He stopped near the Meridian Capital table, exchanged a word, moved on. Unhurried, easy at the front, he straightened the folder on the podium. Didn't open it. "Thank you all for being here." Cole Ventures started in a warehouse in 2016 with a delivery van and a spreadsheet I wrote in the parking lot because the van was also my office. A laugh from the room. I used to drive my own deliveries. It was how I thought through problems. I still drive sometimes. It keeps things clear. A pause. Some of you may have had that experience tonight. Eyes moved through the room. Found Claudia. Found the access card visible in her open clutch. Found Derek's face. The room understood the sentence before anyone said it aloud. Claudia set her wine glass on the nearest surface. didn't reach for it again. When Nathan finished his remarks and the reception resumed, she moved toward the elevator. Julia Park was already there. Miss Voss, professionally warm, completely immovable. Mr. Cole asked that advisory board guests remain through the partnership portion. It concerns the Q4 board composition review. A pause. It concerns your husband's seat. Claudia stopped. Of course, she said. We're staying. She found a position near the window where she could see the room without being easily seen. She stood there for 40 minutes. Nathan did not approach her. She did not approach him. Some conversations have already happened. They just haven't been spoken yet. What Claudia didn't know yet was that by the time she woke Friday morning, the board memo would have been sent, and that Cole Ventures' procurement office had already drafted their response to her firm's 6-week-old consulting pitch. Both were in Julia's outbox. Scheduled for 8 a.m. The consequences had been in motion since before she got in the car. The board composition memo went out Thursday night, after the reception ended. Derek Voss's advisory seat was not renewed for Q4. The stated reason: conflict of interest. His wife's consulting firm had been advancing a proposal to Cole Ventures subsidiaries while he held a governance role with disclosure obligations. He'd known about the pitches. He hadn't disclosed them. The memo was 3 paragraphs. Professional, final. Derek read it at 11:22 p.m. He sat with it for a while before telling Claudia. The conversation that followed lasted 40 minutes and took place partly in their hotel room and partly in the corridor outside it, at a volume that the night staff had found memorable. Nathan learned its general shape from Julia on Monday, who had it from Gerald, who had it from a valet who'd been near the lobby when Derek's voice had carried farther than intended through the Harrington's marble atrium. Send them both a professional acknowledgement, Nathan said. Standard board transition language. Already sent, Julia said. That was the full conversation. Friday morning, Claudia's firm received the formal procurement response from Cole Ventures. After careful review, we have decided to proceed in a different direction. We appreciate your time. She called the contact listed. Got voicemail. Called Derek. He answered on the second ring. Nathan didn't follow what happened after that. It wasn't his to follow. The governance call had been straightforward. The conflict was real. The disclosure had been missed. The decision was clear. What the Vosses did with that was their own work. He thought about it once on the drive home Thursday night. Then let it go. 3 months later, Maya had developed a firm conviction that the executive sedan possessed magical properties, specifically the property of making important things happen, and had begun formally requesting it for events she classified as significant. Her school's spring performance met the threshold. Nathan drove her himself. She sat in the back seat with the posture of a head of state conducting a tour and narrated the route to an invisible audience she appeared to carry with her everywhere. And this, she said, gesturing toward the school's front gate as they turned in, is the final approach. Right, to the important event. You've mentioned that. She pressed her nose briefly to the window, confirming something. Dad. Yeah, is this car still lucky? The car smelled like leather, and the faint trace of the vanilla sticker she'd affixed to the glove compartment in January, and that Nathan had not removed. Still lucky, he said. She sat back. Satisfied, he found a new note in the glove box when he parked. She'd been rotating them, he'd realized, restocking after each retrieval. Purple crayon, this car goes to important places. So do you. Love, the best kid. He folded it. Jacket pocket. The gymnasium had been converted into an auditorium with construction paper decorations and a PA system that was more confident than capable. Nathan found a seat near the front. Julia slid in beside him 3 minutes before the program started, slightly breathless from a late meeting, having apparently decided it was worth the rush. "You didn't have to come," he said. "Maya sent me a calendar invite," Julia said, "with a written agenda and a suggested arrival time. She's been planning this since February." "I know. I'm in the group chat." He looked at her. "There's a group chat. There's a group chat." Maya appeared on stage in the third act of a play about the seasons that had clearly been written by a teacher with strong feelings about spring. She delivered her one line with conviction, found Nathan's face in the audience, and gave him the smallest wave that could still technically be called a wave while remaining in character. He waved back. Julia, beside him, said quietly, "She's extraordinary." "She really is," he said. Not with pride exactly, with something closer to gratitude, for the specific fact of Maya, for the specific fact of this evening, for the way the gymnasium light caught his daughter's face and showed him Emma's expression in it, and he could hold both things at once now, without breaking. He was still learning how to carry it. He thought he was getting better. After the performance, Maya ran out in her costume and demanded a detailed performance review with specific feedback on her timing. Nathan gave it honestly. Julia gave it more generously, which Maya filed as additional evidence that Julia's judgment was excellent and her presence at future important events was required. In the parking lot, Maya climbed into the back seat, checked that her latest note was still in the glove box. It was, and announced that the car's properties had been confirmed again. "Evidence?" Nathan asked, starting the engine. "Important things happened," she said. "Again, that's the evidence." He looked at her in the rearview mirror. Emma's eyes. Emma's specific logic about cause and effect, the particular way she had of treating her own conclusions as obviously correct, which he'd found endearing in Emma, and found no less endearing in the 7-year-old version. "Yeah," he said. "They did." He put the car in drive. The drive home was short. Dinner was planned, Julia had learned where the pasta lived in the cabinet, and Nathan had learned she needed music while she cooked, and neither of them had made any formal announcement about any of this, and Maya had apparently decided that the announcement was hers to make when the time was right, and was currently managing the timeline. Some things get built quietly, one ordinary evening at a time. One note in a glove box. One wave from a stage. One seat saved without being asked for it. He was good at building things. He always had been.